pounding, that might be the coast. Quick like a joke, like to hit when provoked, don't you doubt that. That's a Jaguar to a house cat. That's an outcast to a whole squadron. If you talking Houston, then we've got a problem. You'll probably get the horns if you mess with the cattle. Sit back in your saddle and get ready for the fan battle.
Hey everyone, welcome to the AFC South Fan Battle Podcast. I'll be your host tonight, Matthew Briggs, because Sam has to get some rest before she has her probation hearing tomorrow. I'm just kidding.
Yep. Fingers crossed to get on a parole. Get that ankle
right.
bracelet off. Get rid of it.
Off of a curfew.
Right.
A woman has to live. A woman has to live. Well, guys, let me introduce you to my wonderful guest tonight. First off, my Colts commentator, I have Mr. Josh Senior. Say what's up to the folks.
What's good, y'all?
And you saw him last week. It was his first week. He wants another jab at it, so we brought him back on. We got Maximus Titan fan, Mr. Max.
Thank you for having me back.
And we got Deeb. I'm gonna pick Sam's mistake. She does it every week. We got the best Josh Allen in Jacksonville right now.
Yep, that's me. I'm your mom's favorite Josh Allen. Deal with it.
All right, guys. Well, before we kick into why we're here, NFL news. One thing is Foster Monroe. He was the backup tight end to Darren Waller on the Raiders last year. And he was a free agent. And he was about to make big money signing with the Saints. But when he did his physical, they found out he had leukemia. So now he has to take a step away. So Josh, I kick off with you. What's your thoughts on this?
Which Josh?
Allen. I'm sorry. I forgot.
It's a double Josh extravaganza today on the show.
Right.
Thoughts on? I mean, how awful is that? Right? Like, you're set up for a big payday. You got everything lined up. You go in for what I can only assume he thought was probably going to be a routine physical. And you find out you have a life-threatening illness, man. My heart goes out to the guy. Like, what can you say to that? Like, it's just awful. It's awful news.
All right. What about you, Max? What do you think?
Yeah, pretty much same sentiment, man. I mean, that's just terrible news. Nobody wants that.
Yeah, it's always a tough thing. To me, it seems like it's more and more common, right? Like Eric Berry from the Chiefs back in 2013. John Mechie for the Texans last year. It seems like it's more and more common. But I mean, that's the day we're living in, right? I mean, it's different things cause it. Different things are happening. So So, Josh Senior, what about you? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, you mentioned Eric Berry. Ever since his deal happened, he never returned on the field. He never came back. That was pretty much the end of his career.
Yeah.
But I mean, like both of the guys said, guy setting himself up for a payday and potential starting position, and then you come down with the bad news that you have cancer and you have to step away for a little while before you get those cleared up. We don't. Who knows if it will ever clear up? Yeah. So it's tough. So I know he got a lot of decisions to make, and I'm sure going to a lot of growing pains and a lot of sadness. So shout out to him, and I pray for a smooth recovery.
Yep.
Yeah. We all do, right? Well, moving on. We're in the midst of free agency. The NFL draft is 31 days away or something like that. A lot of trades have been happening. We have first off the Broncos. They, I guess, killed all the rumors. Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy will not be traded. Coming from Sean Payton. Does that hurt the Broncos, or it doesn't really matter?
It may hurt them because because when is Jerry Jeudy contract is due?
I think next year or the year after next.
Because then they pay Hamlin, they pay Sutton, so yeah, this kind of hurts not trading at least Sutton.
What about you, Joshua? Your GM, Alan, would you trade him or?
I mean, I don't know. I guess I wonder if they tried to trade him, but they couldn't get what they wanted for him. So now they're sort of backtracking and saying, yeah, we're not offloading those guys. The problem that you run into if you're a GM and the other teams know that you're desperate to get rid of guys, you're looking at probably getting wholesale value rather than full value, right? When it's the other way around, you've got a hot commodity, and the other teams want him, right? Like then you've got a little bit of leverage, but it just feels like the Broncos don't have any leverage, and they probably didn't get what they wanted when they sort of fished it out there to the other teams, and now they're, they feel like there's more value in keeping them this year than trading them for whatever was offered. Would be my 100% zero sources, no evidence guess, but that's sort of what it feels like.
Well, I mean, when you have to give up your first and second to the Saints because of the Sean Payton deal, I mean, you're gonna have to get as much as picks you can get, right? I mean, anything's valuable at this point when you don't have a first and a second. Max, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just about to say, man. They need all the draft capital they can get. If I was the GM, they're not going to the chip this year. I'd be selling the house. I mean, I know fans flip their lid when you do that, but I mean, you look at them, they're not going to the chip, so why try?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess too, I wonder, like, what was the Sean Payton deal? Was it just a first and second rounder this year, or was it more than that? I forget.
I think it's the first. I think it was the first. Don't quote me, like you said, zero sources. I haven't really looked it up, but I think it's first this year, first next year, and second this year. But I could be wrong.
Denver sending the Saints its first round pick this year and its second round in 2024 in exchange for Peyton and the Saints' third round pick in 2024. Honestly, I think I think they're not that. Looking at that, that's not that much of a desperate situation, really. You give up one. It's kind of like if you could draft what you believe is the best coach for the future of your team. Well, like if you had asked me last year if we had to give up a first round draft pick to get Doug Peterson, I would say okay, maybe, right? Like if you look at what you're getting versus what you gave up. Because the Denver would have had what pick in the draft? Not in the top 10, I don't think, right? Like they were outside the top 10, so it's a crapshoot once you get to a certain like point of the first round anyway. Like I mean, there's been a million guys for all of our teams that have been in the first round drafted and end up being just not any good, right? So I think if you're Denver, I think looking at that, they're probably, if they suck with the two guys that they were trying to shop, then great, you get a higher first round pick next year, right? But if somehow they turn it into some sort of a successful run, then they're just going to tout the fact that Sean Payton was the right guy for the job, right? So yeah, I can see why maybe they wouldn't want to give those guys away for low value. Like they're not bad players, like they're not elite players, but like they're not bad, right? They're not Robert Woods,
Well, the main thing is what's up with Russell Wilson, right? I mean, that was the problem last year. He just laid a golden egg and just sucked. Maybe it was Nathaniel Hackett. I mean, Josh, you're familiar with him, or Josh Allen, you're familiar with him. So, or is it just Father Time always winning? I mean, Father Time is undefeated. So who knows? Maybe Sean Payton come in and fix.
I mean, I don't know. I can't really dog Russell Wilson that badly because as terrible as he was, he still beat the Jags last year in London
and the Texans.
I think again, my amateur assessment is that Father Time is caught up with Russell Wilson, and I think Russell Wilson is a weirdo. Like he's a weirdo, bad teammate. You almost get the feeling that he's like toxic to the locker room. He's like Tim Tebow with slightly better talent and an even more obnoxious personality. Like he's just one of those dudes where it's like, I'm just so tired of hearing about Russell Wilson and him doing stretches and exercises on the overnight flight to London and, hey, Broncos country, let's ride. I'm so tired. Like his stupid sandwich commercials, like just please retire. I hope he wins the lottery and then doesn't need to play football anymore and he can just go away and just get out of here. Just go. But whatever. I'm not a Broncos fan, so I guess that's easy for me to say.
Right.
Well, moving on to the next trade, the Jets traded Elijah Moore to the Browns for they gave their third pick and Elijah Moore for a second pick. So my question to you fellas, do you think the Jets are loading up on some capital to finally land the other weirdo of the NFL, Aaron Rodgers? You think that's what's happening here?
Yeah, they are.
I mean, and then let's see. Josh Allen.
I hope that the Jets suck next year. I hope they get Aaron Rodgers. I hope they suck. Like, I hope they go like 4-13. Like I can't stand that whole franchise. I can't stand Aaron Rodgers and his mushroom psychedelic coked out moron. Like, you know, dude thinks he's so profound and like wise, and it's just like, you know, if I had to pick between, you just heard my opinions on Russell Wilson. If I had to pick between him or Russell Wilson play another 5 years in the league, I'd pick Russ. Danger Russ all day. Like, please, Aaron Rodgers, just enough. I'm so done. I'd rather Tom Brady come back and play another year with as obnoxious as that is than have to deal with another season of Aaron Rodgers playing for any team. So I hope the Jets suck. That's my thoughts on that.
Didn't Brett Favre do terrible too? Didn't he go like 7-9 or something like that?
He also got in trouble out the field too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. They're both piece of crap human beings. I mean, you can flip the coin and they're both laying on pieces of crap. So
yeah, you know, Aaron Rodgers is from California, and I love the meme that said, you know, of course Aaron Rodgers would pick the team that is geographically farthest away from his family to be traded to. Oh.
Nah, I'm good. I'm not going nowhere near California. Yeah. Don't blame him. Max, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, man. If he doesn't play for the Jets this year, that is going to be the messiest, ugliest thing we've seen in a long time. It's going to be nasty. I mean, the Jets fans are going to be upset. Green Bay fans are going to be upset. I don't see how it doesn't happen. I don't see how he doesn't play for the Jets this year. And they are going to stink it up. And I don't know why the Jets didn't learn their lesson from the first time, you know, doing the exact same thing again and expecting a different result. Insanity.
Right. Well, I mean, that's you just said it, the Jets. That's all. That's all the information you need right there. It's the Jets.
Yeah, and it's the Jets. Yeah, it's like the Browns.
Jets suck. That's how I feel about that crappy franchise.
Yeah. All right, guys. One more thing, and we'll move on to why we are here. Talking about sucky football, the AFC South. The NFL is talking about not getting rid of, but changing the rules to touchbacks and fair catches instead of taking it out to the 20-yard line like we're all used to. They're going to move it to the 25-yard line.
Dumb. I hate it.
Yeah. You don't like it, huh?
I think the NFL should go in the opposite direction and introduce fighting like there is in hockey. And I think they should have like 5 play penalties, right? So 2 dudes get in a fight and like they're off for like the next 5 or 6 plays and they can't come back in the game. I think literally like the reason that people there's 2 reasons that people pay big money to watch these athletes do what they do is A, these are physical feats that most of us cannot accomplish, and B, there is a high level of risk associated with what they do, right? And I'm not trying to belittle injuries or make light of injuries, but part of what makes sports like football and hockey so appealing is that there is the risk of injury, and these guys are going out there and accomplishing these amazing things in spite of the fact that it could do them harm to attempt to do so. Like it's the same reason people used to watch like Evel Knievel and Daredevils and people crossing high wires, you know, between bridges and over the Grand Canyon. There is a risk involved, and risk is exciting. And the more you take that out of it, you make it bland and boring and stupid, in my professional opinion.
Oh, well, let me ask you this then. Would you be opposed to, again, what the XFL does? You know, they don't do onside kicks. They make you go for it for 4th and I think 4th and 20, 4th and 15. If you pick it, if you get it, you get the ball back.
Yeah, no, I don't like that. That's weird to me. I like the strategy of the teams being able to choose what they do, right? Like if you want to do an onside kick, like, you know, I like there being a little more strategy. I feel like the XFL, they're trying to make it seem exciting when really they're just given only one route that a thing could go, right? Like, listen, people watch NASCAR because these guys are doing amazing things in the cars, but also because they crash. Like that's why, our boy VT, that's what he's, like there is risk involved, and people, I cannot do what these athletes do. And I am not, because I cannot do it, I'm not willing to risk the bodily harm that goes along with this game. And therefore no one is going to come along and pay me millions upon millions of dollars to do this. Right. So
that's why we're getting paid millions and millions of nothing to talk about it,
No, right? Exactly. That's why I'm sitting here in this chair, with a stupid Jaguar picture behind me, because that's all I can afford. I don't have millions to spend on decorations for, my office / studio here. But again, the NFL is going to do what they're going to do. They're going to do what makes them money, right? And if they think that taking violence and contact out of the game is going to make them more money than leaving it in, they're going to do it regardless of what some idiot sitting on a podcast says. So.
Right. I'm like, hey man, Josh Allen had a pretty good idea. You know what we need to do? Let's keep it the same. This is not.
Don't change anything ever for any reason.
Right. All right, Josh Senior, what do you think?
I think it's like what Josh said. I think it's stupid. But at the same time, I mean, you're gonna have players still running out anyway. They're still gonna try to, attempt to take those kickoffs or punts and take and run. So, and take those risks. So, regardless of them changing it for a fair catch or whatever. You still have one guy that's a returner that's going to take those risks and wow the fans, so they can change all they want, but it won't change.
It's not fun for the players either. Like touchbacks can't be fun. Like that's
right.
That's not. It can't be their preferred way of doing things. You're gonna tell a guy like house call Jamal Agnew, to not, like, come on, bro. Right. He's gonna do it if he thinks he's got a seam and sees an angle, and his blockers are lined up. He's going. Like, he doesn't care. 5 yards ain't gonna matter to him. So
that's like Dante Hall, Devin Hester, Josh Cribbs. Like, there's people who made their careers on kick returns instead of actually being an X and O type of player.
Well, and to be perfectly honest, you rob the kicking team of an opportunity to cause a turnover too. Right. You're taking away, if I'm kicking the ball to the other team, you're taking away my opportunity to make that guy cough it up. So you're taking away some of those, and again, that's the exciting part of the game. When it's not happening to my team, I love when a team coughs up a fumble or a punt, and then my offense gets the ball back, on the 5-yard line. Like, that's an amazing feeling. Like, the more you have touchbacks, the less you're going to see of those things, right? So
I mean, like, and not just that. I think that's where one of the best hits come from. Terrell Davis, he made a hell of a hit when he was a rookie. Pat McAfee. I mean, Pat McAfee has a whole field rim of it. What's his face? The crazy receiver who took his shirt off for the Buccaneers, Antonio Brown. When he kicked, when he kicked the kicker in the face, like, come on, man, don't be taking, podcast gold from us. Like, we still want that. So, Max, what about you? What do you think?
It's the most exciting part of the game for me. It's one of the most exciting part of the games for me is special teams returns. I mean, to be honest, that's what I love. I actually started watching the XFL regularly because of their return policies. I love their kickoff. I think that's fantastic. It almost forces them to return. And, and it's still actually, if you look at the model that they've got, that there's not a lot of injuries. And unless you've got an elite player and good blocking, they usually go down around the 20-25 anyway. So it's not really much different, you know what I mean? And there's not a lot of high collision hits either. So I think the XFL has a really good model for this. But yeah, I mean, like you said, you made the greatest point, but Devin Hester, Pac-Man Jones, some of these players made their mark as returners before they did as football players or even only as returners, and so I think if you take that part of the game away, you're kind of taking a part of the team away. I mean, some of these players' opportunities to be in the league.
I've been in that Jag Stadium for dozens and dozens of games, and one of the most exciting things I have ever seen was not last year, but the year before, when the Jags played the Cardinals, and Jamal Agnew returned a field goal for a touchdown. One of the most exciting things I have ever seen, and these sort of new rules, like the NFL wants to disincentivize teams and players from doing that, and I just think it's a shame, man. Like, I can see it happening in my head right now as I'm talking about it. People just disbelief going crazy. Like, it's just like Max said, it is literally one of the most exciting parts of the game. Like it's a shame to try to get rid of it. But I'm glad they didn't go as far as what they talked about 2 years ago, where they talked about just taking the ball, just spotting the team the ball at the 20.
Yep.
No kickoffs at all, which I just think is stupid. Even more stupid than this idea.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, talking about stupid, let's do this stupid division. You know, we all suck. Let's start off with the Jags. Y'all don't got much going on.
Yeah, we signed some.
In town, huh?
Yeah, listen, you know, depending on the money, I wouldn't mind bringing Calais Campbell back. Like, he's the sort of dude that builds a sort of the type of culture you want in the locker room. But he's on his last legs, right? Like, he's on the tail end of his career. How much has he really got left in the tank? You know, so depending on the money and how they could swing the deal, if they brought him back, I think that'd be kind of cool. He's a fan favorite. You know, everything you want off the field, like, you know, Calais Campbell's that guy. Calais Campbell is what Arden Key wishes he could be, right? A dude who can actually perform on the field and does stuff in the community and you know, the sort of guy you really want to root for. You know, but if he's looking for a big deal to cash out like the last, you know, couple years of his career, you know, I don't know if he's really worth the money in terms of performance there. They signed a couple of other NPCs, you know, just some literal dudes. And the big thing that what's perplexing to me that I've seen, everybody's talking about the Jaguars, the needs that they need to address either through free agency or the draft. And people are talking about cornerback and offensive line and a bunch of other stuff. Not a single person has talked about pass rush. Like the pass rush for the Jaguars sucked. They were ranked 25th in the league. If you go and look at the Jaguars app, like every team has their own app now, and it gives you like the statistical rankings for a bunch of different categories. The Jaguars were middle of the road to top tier in the league in scoring and passing and running and run defense and you know, all these different things. But the thing that they sucked at was pass rush, and the pass rush disappeared. My namesake Josh Allen disappears in big games. They had exactly no sacks against Kansas City. Chad Henne comes in, career backup, dude that sucks, leads a 92-yard drive or whatever it is down the field. They didn't put him or a one-legged Patrick Mahomes on his butt one time in that divisional round game. That is why we lost that game. We didn't put him on their butts. And everyone's acting like, oh no, Josh Allen's really good. And some people are even saying that he needs to be given a big, second deal. And I'm just like, I don't see it. Like, he's a good dude. I like him. Obviously, I'm partial because, I have the same name, but he has not earned it, in my opinion. The one move I think that's a good sign for the pass rush is they brought back Roy Robertson Harris. I think they're going to end up bringing back Dwayne Smoot after they figure out how bad his knee injury really is and what the rehab time is going to be. I think after the draft, you'll probably see them pick him back up. And those were the two dudes who really generated pressure outside of Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen in certain games. Right. But if you go and look statistically at the number of sacks the Jags had, when they did not get sacks, they did not win football games. Just flat out. When they put no pressure on the quarterback, they did not win. So that long stretch in the middle of the season where they were not winning games, the defense was not. And I mean, there was other problems too, but you can sort of see. And what's perplexing to me again is that nobody is talking about how do we fix the pass rush for next year. So that's what the Jaguars are stupid if they don't do something. And the Jaguars, listen, this is an organization that has been stupid many times over in their history. So it wouldn't surprise me if these idiots don't do anything. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker will have a big jump and produce some pressure. They didn't really do that like they didn't do this past season, but the Jags got to do something about the pass rush. It was the worst statistically ranked unit on the whole team, and something's got to give there. If they want to beat teams like Kansas City, you want to have a shot to actually get past Kansas City, because that's the elephant in the room, right? Like, Kansas City is the team to beat. They won the Super Bowl. They are the champions. They're perennially the team that you have to deal with. They're the Patriots of this decade, right? So you got to put Patrick Mahomes. You got to get him off the spot and put him on his butt. If you do that, you have a chance to win. If you don't, you're probably going down.
So, question before I move on: if the Jaguars barely make the playoffs and win the division, or don't make the playoffs, does Trent Baalke get fired?
I think it depends on how they get in, right? Okay. It depends on who performed, right? It's hard to answer. I think how do you fire your GM if you make the playoffs? I think is a hard, This
It's
team
not
is
that hard.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Again, there's a lot of variables there. I am not necessarily sold 100% on Trent Baalke, but I think for an organization like the Jaguars, if your team makes the playoffs and maybe even wins a playoff game 2 years in a row, and you turn around and fire your GM, I don't know. How does that look? Like, the Trent Baalke, if he gets us two years of winning the division and winning a playoff game, he has done something that almost no other GM in the history of the franchise has done. So I think he's probably not on the hot seat. I think, maybe, I don't know. Shad Khan has been very patient with all of his hires, whether it's coaches or other parts of the organization. I can't see Shad Khan making an impulsive decision unless
he's not a or I should say Doug P is not a Trent Baalke guy though, right? I mean, could they possibly get one that helps Doug Peterson get the guys he wants? Or...
I mean, Trent Baalke hired Doug Peterson. Baalke was here. Baalke also hired Urban Meyer, right? Listen, if I thought we could find a guy that was better than Trent Baalke, I would fire Trent Baalke today. Trent Baalke took Trayvon Walker #1 in the draft when Aiden Hutchinson was sitting there and produced statistics. Just look at the numbers. Aiden Hutchinson was a better player.
Sauce Gardner,
all these dudes that were like literally there that they could have taken. We didn't take. We took Trayvon Bonehead Walker.
And you probably could got him in the second round. Right?
Literally, I would be less mad if they had taken somebody like Dameon Pierce. Like, imagine that. But just look from a statistical standpoint.
Right.
Like, Dameon Pierce had a better season. You could make a better argument for him having been a #1 pick than Trayvon Walker. Trayvon Walker did not do anything. So if it's me, I fired Trent Baalke right now.
He actually cost you 2 games. I mean, he's the reason why the Texans won.
Yeah,
so.
He's the reason that when I was sitting there in that ketchup-soaked stadium, just listening, just smelling the funk of ketchup radiating in the Florida sun,
and the rats burning across their feet and everything.
I'm not going to dignify that with a response. But listen, see, no one can come at me with those jokes because I'm the one that was talking the most junk and running my mouth the most about how terrible the concessions were at that stadium for a long time, right? So who are you talking to? Like, yeah, I know. Thanks for telling me. Tell me something I don't know, right? But no, yeah, his personal foul at the end of that game. So anyway, all that is to say, Trayvon Walker ain't it. Josh Allen does not look like he's going to be it. I'd be okay if Josh Allen walked and went to free agency and went somewhere else. It would suck a little bit, but not that much. They got to fix the pass rush. Jaguars have got to do something, and maybe that's what they're going to do in the draft. I don't know. We'll see. They got to fix the pass rush.
All right. Well, moving on to the Titans. Any newsworthy there, Max, or just keeping it quiet, or just too busy slamming down the Mayo?
Yeah. No, I tell you, man, it's 50-50 what you ask the Titans fans. We're either a dumpster fire or just fine. I think, like we said before, Rand Carthon's trying to thread a needle on, not making too many big waves in his first year, but also trying to get us out of the dumpster fire that J-Rob left us in. I think he has one more big move to make. And I've been saying it all off season, and I know I'm going to make a lot of Titans fans mad when I say this. But Ryan Tannehill, he doesn't have to go, but his contract does. And I don't care how that has to happen. I don't want him for more years. So let's get that straight. But his contract's got to go. We cannot pay him that much money to get the play out of him that we're going to get. Now, the best, he ever played for us was in, I think, season like 2020, 2021 when we had Arthur Smith, AJ, we were, yeah, that's when we went to the AFC Championship and all that. But we had good receivers, a lot of them. Jonnu Smith at tight end, and then we also had Derrick Henry in the back. We had all kinds of pieces. Our wide receiver room right now is Treylon Burks, Kyle Phillips, and NWI. I mean, and if that's not, that might be the worst wide receiver room in the entire NFL.
Yeah, your best receiver is your tight end right now.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to be beating up on my Titans right now, but I kind of have to.
I mean, we're here
And-
for it, so I mean, go ahead.
Well, yeah, and I mean,
I would
to be
encourage
honest,
you to
he's
disparage
got
your
to
team in any way you want. Just keep it, just let it flow, man. Let it out. It's a safe space.
got to make that move. And what it is if he can't trade him off in the draft, which is I think the ultimate idea. If you can't trade him off in the draft, like say, you know, all the good quarterbacks that the Raiders like, you know, or some other team like, don't, you know, get picked up before they get to pick. Maybe we can trade Ryan Tannehill for maybe a 2 and a 3 or a 2 and a 4 or something like that.
Yeah, but the contract's still the problem there. Who's going to take that contract? Is the, you know, if you trade him when he's under that contract, some team's got to agree to pay him that money, and I don't know, man.
Well, like I said, if you have the players in place like Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, you know, I mean, I think you actually can make a good case that Ryan Tannehill can be a top 5, top 10 quarterback with the right pieces in place. So I don't know. To the right situation, I think you might be able to get something worthy out of it,
or
and
reach out
still
to
push the contract.
the Falcons and Arthur Smith, maybe. You know,
Exactly. That's another big team that everybody is speculating in. But if we can't unload him on the draft, then we have to cut him post-June. I mean, we have to. We barely have enough cap space right now to sign our rookies. If we don't, yes, he is exactly right. We need to re-sign Jeffrey Simmons to a long extension, and we need to cut the crap with Kevin Byard. You know, to be honest, he's one of the best safeties and has been in the league since he's been in the league. He hasn't missed one game, which is rare for a Titan. And I mean, you know, that's just the obvious move to me. And I mean, a lot of people are talking about Derrick Henry trading him, whatever. You know, I mean, I'm not cool with that. I think he's the face of the franchise. I think that would be a dumb move for Ryan Carthon. But Ryan Tannehill is not loved by the entire Titans fans. We are split pretty much 50-50 on him, whether we love him or not. And you either love him or hate him. Not a lot of people are like, he's okay. You either think he's trash or you think he's good. I think he's good with the right players, but he is trash with what we have right now. So I think we cut all ties with Tannehill. We take that extra money, we re-sign Simmons, and we move on with the draft of, you know, whatever we can get.
So before we move on, let me ask you a question like I did Josh. So like you said, Kevin Byard hasn't missed a game, and safeties' careers usually last a lot longer than running backs. So why not get what you can get right now at Derrick Henry while you still can? Because he's getting older, he's getting bigger. So would you, for the right price, would you get rid of Derrick Henry to help because let's be honest, it seems like the Titans are looking towards a rebuild.
A tank season. Yeah, a rebuild or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And I agree. A lot of people are saying that. But here's my argument to the 29-year-old Derrick Henry that we have overused over the last 3 seasons. First of all, he's been incredibly productive. He's the king. I don't have to give you any stats on that. That's obvious. But
I didn't vote for him.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry you didn't vote for him. He's still the king. The first 2.5 seasons, really, he didn't play hardly at all. He played behind other people, got very sparse carries, not really hardly anything at all. And in college, I think either his first season or his first 2 seasons, he didn't play hardly at all. Yeah. So even though he's 29 years old and we have used him a lot over the last 3 seasons, I mean, you look at his health standards and everything, and yes, I know they do have a short shelf life, and I'm not saying that, you know, but I do think that a good move for Rand and again, face of the franchise, you know, everybody knows how the Titans fans reacted the last time we traded one of our big superstars. And I think Derrick Henry fits that bill. I think everybody in the Titans family, he's not like Ryan Tannehill. We're not 50-50 on him. We all love Derrick Henry. So I think moving on from him would be a big, big move from Rand Carthon. big cojones move. You know what I'm saying? But I think if we restructure him, extend him a couple years, and use him to the fullest extent, and then let him go when, it's obvious. Like, unfortunately, a lot of Titan fans are going to get mad with this comment, and I'm sorry, guys, but let's be realistic here. Again, stop looking through the two-tone blue glasses. Just like with Steve McNair. When it was time to move on from him, we moved on from him.
Yeah, all right.
So let me ask you this question. Someone comes and offers you the Sean Payton deal, first rounder this year, second rounder next year for Derrick Henry. You take that deal?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. All right. You're rational, man. You pass
I'm not an idiot, man. I mean, come on now. I know that, and that's the other thing is what value do you put on Derrick Henry right now? What draft pick do you?
I would give you 2 second-round draft picks for Derrick Henry.
Really?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Just because you don't know what's going to happen next year. That's the thing. That's the thing about running backs. You never know. With Chris Johnson, Le'Veon Bell, I mean, you go on and on with running backs. You never know. Like, the only one that breaks that mold, right, is AP, Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, and I will say that running backs are a lot easier to replace in this league. Than Kevin Byard is. I mean, let's face it. The Kevin Byard thing should just be off the table. Everybody needs to stop talking about it because I think he's more right. I think a third-round pick is more close to what I think Derrick Henry would actually pull on the market. A 2 and a 3, that's not bad. But
the problem that you have is that teams know now that the Titans are in some sort of a rebuild. So, again, teams are not going to give whatever the full value is they perceive for a player. They're going to try to, bargain the leverage they have, knowing that you need draft picks, you need some collateral if you're really shopping him. So you're not going to get, if he was worth a first round pick, you wouldn't get it. Like no team would offer it because they know the Titans are in rebuild mode. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So again, and that's another good reason why I wouldn't trade it.
All right. Well, before I move on to Josh Senior, Josh Allen, we have a question for you. Who would you rather gotten last?
Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson, hands down. Just look at it statistically. There was 2 pass rushers that were rated in the, to go either 1 or 2. And Aiden Hutchinson was a guy you plug in immediately and he's productive. Trayvon Walker was a project. He didn't really have a whole lot of pass rush numbers. If you look at his numbers at Georgia, he was fine. He did a lot of tackles. He had tackles for loss and things like that, but pass rush was not really a specialty. They took Trayvon Walker. They put him in a different position than technically what he played on the line. I 100%, no doubt, said it before the draft, said it during the draft. I'm saying it now, a year after almost the draft. They should have taken Aiden Hutchinson.
Okay, I respect it. I like it. Moving on to the other Josh, the second best Josh on the podcast. No, I'm just kidding. The Colts. What about you? Any news?
Of course, there's never news around Indy. We're the cheapest team in the division. We don't spend anything. I think the highest player in the division is paid free agent in the division is Matt Gay. he got paid a lot of money 2 weeks ago, and a lot of us is indifferent with that one. The only news right now lately. It's the Lamar Jackson news. They said that.
I'm about to say that. Yeah, the reports are saying that the Colts are reaching out to Lamar Jackson because obviously he's his own agent.
Yeah,
they're interested in signing him. So, what's your thoughts on that?
It's a lot of writers said that we have a plane in Baltimore right now. They're still left behind, or they've been still there visiting. I don't know if it correlates to Lamar Jackson, but my take on it. Since Carolina ruined our chances of getting the top 2 quarterback in the draft by trading up, and we're not sure with Levis or Anthony Richardson, I'll take a flyer on Lamar Jackson. Yeah, he has been injured. He missed 13 games the past 2 years, maybe 13. I don't know the exact amount. But he's an electrifying quarterback. I know it's not a retread. He's not old, 39, 40 years old. He's 26 years old, still in his prime, and he's an athlete. Just got to work on his accuracy and his throwing because he's more so of a running back than a quarterback. But I mean, Indy, as you can see on Twitter everywhere, Indy fans are loving the idea of potentially acquiring him. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I was about to say Josh Allen and Max. Does Lamar Jackson to the Colts scare you guys or?
Yeah, I mean, how could it? I mean, Lamar Jackson's a good player, right? Like, it doesn't scare me as much because I feel like the Jags figured him out a little bit when he played, but I think he's a dangerous player. In the right circumstances with the right scheme, you maximize his talents. The dude is a literal cheat code when he's running, right? Like he moves back and forth, changes directions like no one I've ever seen. But again, it comes down to the cost, right? Like because it has to be a trade of some sort, or is it they conditionally or they did the unconditional free agent thing? Like
the Colts can sign him to say a 5-year, $160 million contract. And if the Ravens said, cool, we don't want that, that's too high.
Oh, that's right. So it's not a trade.
Here's our first.
I mean, it just depends on how much of the future of your cap space do you have to mortgage to get Lamar, right? Like
do I believe it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's to you, Josh.
That's to you, Justin.
I mean, I'm excited. I'm more so not excited that we can't get the top two quarterbacks in the draft. So I'm shifting my thought process on Lamar Jackson. If we can't get him, go for it. It will only cost us 2 first-round picks. The Ravens want him for him.
2 first-round picks.
So it's only going to cost us 2 first-round picks. Probably going to be a 4th and then next year pick. So we should be set at quarterback. He's healthy, so we should be set at quarterback for the next couple of years. I mean, I would love to have Anthony Richardson, but if there's still rumors there that teams could move to 3 with Arizona, so we're not sure. So I mean, there's a lot of things playing part in it. So, but we can get a deal done and acquire him and get those picks up and have our quarterback and for the future and run out of RPOs with him and JT and potentially sweep y'all guys.
Yeah.
I think bottom line, Lamar Jackson is an upgrade for the Colts based on the current roster. And the question is, how much money are they going to have to pay him, and how much is it going to hurt their ability to sign other players around him, right? So if dude wants like a $200 million like crazy contract, then I don't know that he's worth it. Like I know I'm in the minority when I say that, but like I don't know, man. They just
he did come out. He did come out and said that he doesn't. The need of being the highest paid is not there. Like he doesn't want to be.
Yeah, because he knew he wasn't going to get it. Nobody was going to give him that.
He just wants to be what he deserves. He's worth. Which I don't blame him. He's a former MVP, right? I mean, he's never gotten the help in Baltimore. They never got him receivers. They rotate his offensive line. And Greg Roman, I mean, I don't know how he's still an offensive coordinator in the NFL. I mean, they never help him out to heighten his passing skills. So I can see why, why.
Yeah, I mean, the Colts' new head coach being an offensive guru, you do sort of wonder, like, as much as it would hurt my team to have to play him twice, right? Like, it would be interesting to see what that guy can do with a talented guy like Lamar. Lamar
and Jim Bob Cooter,
Jim Bob Cooter, best name in football.
See, we only have $20 million in cap right now.
Yeah, see, that's a tough spot.
Well, I mean, everybody keeps saying the cap, but the cap is kind of like a myth, though, right? Because you do so much.
No, it's not, though. No,
I mean, you can do so much things to bend it, right? Incentive-based deals, bonuses.
You can bend it to a certain extent, but at some point, it's like a rubber band. You can stretch it for a while, but eventually it's going to snap back.
Like the Rams. Yeah, I get it.
The Rams, that's a great team to look at.
All right, Max, what do you think about Lamar going to Indianapolis?
I wouldn't mind it because I mean Lamar doesn't really scare the Titans if you look at the past games that we played with him. However, I think the asking price is just ridiculously too high. I agree that it's just I would be upset. They say there's a 20% chance or something. I heard that on a thing that there's a 20% chance the Titans could get Lamar Jackson. I don't want him. Not for that price. I'm good. Thank you.
Well, and that too is Daniel Jones, right? He kind of hurt hurt the teams with that contract, right? Like what do you get, like $140 million?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Daniel Jones, that's like a Blake Bortles resign. Like he does not deserve that at all. So
Right.
Josh Allen's familiar with that way too.
Yeah.
Too much. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, moving on to the best team. No, I'm just kidding. The Texans. Look, I think we did pretty good signing. We got Dalton Schultz. I think he can be the top 2 tight ends in the league behind Everett Ingram in this Bobby Slowick offense. I think the dude's going to eat. I think he's going to be like a George Kittle, just not as good. The guys are
everybody's really high on Dalton Schultz. I don't see it, and shout out to the person that they're listening that told me that I have terrible opinions on football. And sometimes that is true, but I'm telling you right now, this person told me that they think that Dalton Schultz is immediately better than Evan Ingram. And that's just the biggest load of malarkey that I've heard.
I don't think he's better, but there's a possibility of him being better.
He's talented, possibly, but right now, if you plug those two in, you ask somebody to rank the tight ends after the season that Evan Ingram had this past year with the Jaguars. I don't know how anybody in their right mind can say that Dalton Schultz.
Well, Dalton Schultz wasn't too far behind him, and plus, he had to play a lot of games with old Cooper Rush.
I hear you, but I'm just saying.
Well, I know, right? I know. I'm just saying there's a possibility, right? And plus, against the Buccaneers, he had like 4 touchdowns in the playoff game. I'll sign that.
Yeah, but the Buccaneers clearly gave up. They rolled over,
right,
in that playoff. But anyway, sorry, I'm interrupting your second.
No, you're good. You're good at all.
Evan Ingram's better than Dalton Schultz, and anybody says different is an idiot.
We also last year we were pulling a Titans and running Dameon Pierce like it was nothing, trying to make him the next Derrick Henry. I do not want that. So we picked up David Singletary. I think that's a great pickup. Helps with the depth and the carries. I don't think he's going to be. We got crazy conspiracy theorists, if you want to call them, in Texans Twitter, saying that Dameon Pierce is not a number 1 running back. That he bet on good days is a number 2. Yeah, you're muted, but I read your lips. Yeah, he said they're not a number 1 running back.
It's not. Oh man, he definitely is.
Yeah, so. I think this is going to help him. And again, Zoe blocking. People underrate that blocking scheme. It's helped many years, and I think it's going to help these guys. And then we got the guy who led the Raiders in all-time franchise history, most tackles in the season, Perryman linebacker. The only thing that scares me, he's never finished a full season. He was a Pro Bowler. The best asset is to be on the field, and if you're not on the field, you're not any good. So that just worries me. But man, it's slowly getting there, right? Like, I mean, 2 years ago when Deshaun Watson was, finger popping assholes and stuff like that.
Oh my
God! You never know what was going to happen to the Texans. Now Bill O'Brien's gone. Nick Caserio is finally getting rid of all those crazy contracts and getting money in the bank. It's a bright future. I don't think. I think we can make a run for the Jaguars, but I don't think we're going to beat the Jaguars. I think they're going to win the division, but I think we're on pace to be the second best team in the division. But that's because
it's cute to see Houston fans going through the same sort of syndrome that Jaguars fans have done very, very often, where we used to get so excited. We'd sign free agents when we draft a guy, and Jack's like, yes, we're the team, we're back. Right. And that's what I see with all my Houston friends. None of this stuff, like for all of our teams, none of these signings, nothing of this, it means
until the product on the field,
not a whit until the toe meets the leather and the games start to get played. Yes, I think the Singletary pickup's a better pickup than Dalton Schultz.
What?
That's crazy, man. Listen, Dameon Pierce I watched him play at Florida. Right. That dude is a gem, and the more you can give him rest and keep him fresh, the more dangerous he's going to be. He's going to be one of those runners. If you can keep him fresh into the late the late stages of a game, he's gonna, he's got the ability just to.
I
mean,
see-
the dude was darn near untackleable to the point where I literally thought the dude had put like Crisco cooking gel all over his jersey.
I mean, yeah, he
in that
won
game
the
in
angriest
Jacksonville because they
right.
couldn't touch the dude. Like
he won the angriest run of the year with that run.
I mean, Dalton Schultz is fine, but the question is who's going to throw to him, right? Like that's the question. And, it looks like you guys are probably going to get little bitty Bryce Young.
Here you go,
little bitty baby quarterback. Get out of here. Listen, this is a what have you done for me now league. This is 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I could probably run faster than Matt Briggs, but
shout out to my boy. Shout out to my boy Chris.
Dude, this is what I'm talking about. This is the king of the offseason syndrome. These Houston fans are losing their minds, man. Everybody they pick up is going to take.
I get what you're saying about the Dameon Pierce, which you make it a great invalid, logic. But I still think Dalton's better because, like you said, you're getting a rookie quarterback, so you need a blanket for him. You need.
How did Dalton Schultz do with Cooper Rush?
He did pretty good. He was the best receiver.
Yeah, but you look at his numbers last year versus the year before. Dalton Schultz had a down year. Listen, I looked at the numbers because I got pissed when someone told me my football opinions were terrible.
Yeah, well, look at game by game. When what's his face, Dak Prescott came back in. That's when Dalton Schultz numbers went down. He went after. He went because Cooper Rush depended on the tight end. A lot of young quarterbacks, they tend to go to Alex Smith. He was the greatest tight end. Travis Kelce. They didn't throw a whole pass to the receiver for 8 games there in Kansas City.
Listen, I'm not saying Dalton Schultz is a bad player. I'm saying right now, if you had to pick one tight end to go into next season, if you say you wouldn't out of our division, anybody who says they wouldn't take Evan Ingram first, I think is not being honest.
Jelani Woods.
Oh, you got me. That's true. Forgot about him.
I think Ingram and Schultz is better than Woods. I think those are the top 2 guys, right? Oh, God. Come on there, John. Don't put your homers on. Don't put your homers. We had Davis Mills, so don't even go there with me.
No, nobody's sleeping on Dalton. Dalton and Ingram are darn near the same guy, and Ingram had more impact on his team this past year than Dalton did. Just flat out, he did. Like there was a bigger turnaround in terms of what they were able to do at the time. We had literal NPCs playing tight end the year before Ingram came in. You'll never convince me otherwise. You Houston fans, enjoy your offseason championship because when the season comes around, you'll be crying again. All I got to say.
I'm going to answer this. Houston O-line, I think we did a great job upgrading it. We signed the top 5 left tackle and Laremy Tunsil, the gas mask king. We got a great pickup in Zach Mason. Got him for a 6th-round draft pick. Amazing. And then we got Howard, another year of green, and I think we're going to go center in a rookie. That from Michigan, I think he's going. I hope that's who we get. I think it's going to be a lot better than it was last year. Plus, we don't got Pep Hamilton calling plays, and again, zone blocking works magic. Like I tell everybody, Josh can account to this. He had Urban Meyer last year. Now he has Doug Peterson this year. Scheming fixes a lot of things, and I think this scheme puts a Band-Aid on a lot of the Houston things. And Josh, I'm glad you said the offseason Kings because the PFF just came out with the AFC South rankings this year of free agency. Of course, it got the Texans with the top, with the B-. Got the Colts, 2nd place, C+.
Matt Gay.
And then it's going to round out. It has the Jaguars on top with the C and has the Titans on the bottom with the C, but it seems like they're both tied with the C. So,
yeah, but again, yeah, sure, that's fine. Pro Football Focus also thinks that Trayvon Walker, had a decent year. So, they're idiots, right? Like, just go watch the film. Like listen, the NFL is in this era now where we want to create all these fancy algorithms and these fancy statistics. And I even think things like tackles are a misleading stat. Because listen, we've had a lot of years where we had linebackers that were leading tacklers in the league, and our defense was just getting destroyed in all these games. And they had a bunch of tackles because they were on the field the whole freaking game. Like time of possession was like 38 minutes, and the opposing offense was running a ton of plays. So of course we had dudes that had a bunch of tackles because the defense couldn't get off the field. So we're in this statistical world where everyone wants to find some sort of magic formula. Ever since the whole Moneyball thing happened in Major League Baseball, this, and I'm not saying there shouldn't be any data analytics and you can't look at data to help you make better decisions, but it feels like to an extent, like, people have lost their minds with some of these stats, right? And Pro Football Focus, I think,
is one of them.
I just think a lot of times they're full of baloney. Like you look at players and how they play, and you watch their film, you watch the games, and it just doesn't match what the statistics and the data that you see in some of the PFF numbers. And I know I'm in the minority with this stuff, but again, numbers,
There you go, Josh.
Yes. What, 172 more yards? Dalton, you're right. Dalton Schultz is freaking the next coming of, whatever dumb tight end people think is the best tight end. You're 100. Come on, man. Come on, 100. He's 100 yards better over the last 3 years. You got 33 more yards a season. Like, get out of here. Get out of here.
All right, guys. Well,
statistically irrelevant. That's what I'd call that.
Like my boy Crenshaw on the Texans Fan Battle says, this is the worst part of the show because it's the end. So, any last words before we go? No? Yeah?
Dalton Schultz sucks. How about that?
My
last words.
All right.
It was always
guys,
a gag. Dalton Schultz sucks. Also, Sam loves Jalen Ramsey, and prayers up for a court date.
All right, Josh. Well, with that being said, Josh, tell us where we can find you on social media.
You can find me on Twitter telling people that they're dumb if they think Dalton Schultz is better than Evan Ingram at Josh Gives Up.
All right. Josh Senior, where we can find you at?
Find me on Twitter at I am Josh Senior, and on Tuesdays on the Hush Mile podcast at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yes, definitely check that out. And Mr. Max, where can we find you at?
Maximus_Titan_fan, and I'm on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
All right. And guys, make sure you check out our network's email website, Fan Battle Sports. You can find all of our great shows: the Titan Coliseum, the Jags Fan Battle, the Horseshoe Mob, the Texans Fan Battle, and Josh Allen is working on something I think y'all are gonna like. So make sure you check it out. All the great stuff. You can find me at Dalton Schultz is the greatest tight end in AFC South.
Oh, go suck it.
You can find me at A1 Day One Texans. You find the podcast everywhere on all major platforms at AFC South Fan Battle, and all social media at AFCSFB. I didn't murder it like Sam does, so score one for me. Until then, guys, next week we'll see you then. Have a good night.
See ya.
Sam loves Jalen Ramsey.